England versus Scotland is the oldest rivalry in international football, spanning almost 150 years. It has been the setting for some incredible goals and some monumental thrashings. With the age-old political and military rivalry throughout British history, this fixture has become an intense and antagonistic conflict. Scottish journalists have referred to the Three Lions as the Old Enemy, a pet name still being used today. Their first meeting was in Glasgow in 1872, which ended in a rather disappointing 0-0 draw. But since then, the two nations have clashed 114 times, with England coming out on top, winning 48 of their previous meetings to Scotland's 41. There have been 25 draws. The first goal for either side was scored by William Kenyon Slaney, England's starting striker, in a 4-2 English victory in 1873. From there, the match became an annual event, alternating between venues in England and Scotland. Scotland secured their first victory in 1874, beating the Lions 2-1, before going on a 3-game win streak, culminating in a 7-2 victory in 1878. England didn't fare too well in the early years of this annual clash, winning in 1879 before enduring a 5-game losing streak that was broken only by 2 draws before losing again in 1887. Scotland were dominant, winning 10 of their first 16 meetings. Passing football had developed earlier in Scotland than it had in England, and that made them a formidable, almost unplayable side. Tragedy struck in 1902 at a match that was supposed to be the inaugural game for the now fully professional international sides. 6 minutes into the match, a section of the wooden West Tribune stand suddenly collapsed due to heavy rainfall the night before. Over 500 people were injured as the stadium was packed to its 68,000 capacity for the match. Play was stopped immediately as players, police and stewards rushed to help the injured. 25 people died as a result of the collapse. Despite the players' reluctance and the repeated pauses to allow police and the injured to cross the field, the match continued and ended 1-1. Later, it was voided with the replay held at Villa Park, which again ended in a draw. It would take until the end of the Second World War for the tide to turn, with England finally gaining the upper hand, with Scotland only winning 12 meetings since 1945. England in 1961, with a team featuring stars like Jimmy Greaves and Bobby Charlton, smashed the Scots 9-3, the biggest win the rivalry had ever seen. 5 years later, England would win the World Cup. Scotland would be the first team to defeat the reigning champions, sarcastically dubbing themselves the unofficial world champions. Scotland did, however, win 3 games out of 4 from 1974 to 1977, but lost every other meeting in the 1970s. They've only won 3 times since 1977. In their most recent meeting, in 2017, they drew 2-2, with goals from Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain and Harry Kane for England, and a double for Scotland's Lee Griffiths. It's one of the most intense rivalries in world football, matched only by England-Germany or Brazil-Argentina. The Guardian has argued that for millions across both sides of the border, the encounter represents a chance for the ultimate victory over the enemy. a sentiment that is echoed every time the whistle blows for kickoff. It's exciting, enthralling, the clash between the Tartan army and the Three Lions, and every time they play, there is a sense of enormity in the air. The story continues, and who knows what might come next. Thank you very much for listening to this episode of the Present History podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe, leave a review if you're feeling positive, and we'll see you in the next one.